All right, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Tough loss today. Just first things first, obviously, with Mars coming off, how much louder was this place compared to last week?
It was really good. Our fans were there, ready to be loud. I think like our play kind of took some energy out of the building at some stage into the game, but yeah, they were definitely ready, and throughout the whole women's game, which was a much better game than the performance that we put on. It was very energetic and very loud. The fans were fantastic.
Yeah, Joel, from a playing perspective as well, do you think the energy and the noise this week was a lot louder compared to last week with the mask in?
Definitely a lot louder. I think, like Dave said, we just kind of sucked the energy out of it a little bit towards that game. But no, it's great having that crowd turn up. I mean, we love playing in front of a full house, so it's good. Hopefully we can bring it back next week.
Yeah, the purple point patch there in that third quarter, he had 10 points. Was it a mindset that he came out from the second half, like coming out of that halftime break, to really have an impact?
I think they were just so focused on some of our key players, so we just had to try to find other actions within our plays, and so we just had to reject some good options and try and make other plays on the other side of the court.
And Coach Morrell gave up 110 points on your home floor, started 3-0. What is the, before our fixture against, you guys got Lakeside next week, what does the next 6-7 days look like for you preparing these guys from that?
I mean, we talk about just trying not to be too high when we were through it 3-0 and we had just come off a win. We're trying not to be too low after coming off of a very poor performance. And really, the losing, it should hurt tonight because we just weren't good at all. But it's just a matter of going in, film, guys with hungry eyes and ready to learn when we get into film on Tuesday and learn our lesson. If we don't learn our lesson, then we're bound to repeat performance and have more games like this. We have a room full of guys that don't want to have another performance like this though. So we'll get into film and we'll really study up and improve all the mistakes that we made.
Where do you think that was in particular tonight, that point of difference?
I mean, you said it, we gave up 110 points. We didn't individual actions. I mean, you could break it down to we didn't guard actions well. It felt like we were confused in switches and giving up slips. When we went to that, we were dying on screens. A lot of it is effort stuff and just where bodies are and getting back on defense and being able to load up to the ball. But to be honest, we just also never found our legs. We were just giving up blow by after blow by, and we have to guard the ball better.
Yeah, Coach, one thing we said during the commentary tonight is you try and take some sort of a positive away from obviously a hard night in the office, but sometimes these games you can take things away from it. There are other things structures that you set a breakdown and gives you plenty to work on. I think their trapping half court defense earlier in the game probably caused some issues. That's something good to be exposed to early in the season, so you can make those adjustments. So when you copy again, what's your thought on taking some sort of positive away from the game tonight?
Yeah, it's a good experience to play against that style of defense, and we obviously fell down against it. When we did break the pressure, the ball stopped moving, and we were all over the place. And it's got to continue to move. We've got to be able to find our structures and our actions on the back end of pressure a whole lot better. I just felt like we showed very much like a team that is new to playing with each other tonight. Like we were very easily thrown off of our rhythm.
And Joel, with you as well, as what he just said, do you think there were a few times where defense was a bit slack, so especially in that second half?
Yeah, our defense definitely let us down today. I mean, we just couldn't guard the ball, couldn't keep anyone in front of us, and then we just let them pressure us. I think they just came out and threw the first punch, and we just couldn't find ourselves within the game to just punch back and keep the game going. And we got a couple of stops, but then we just couldn't generate on the offense, and then they'll just come down and smack an easy three on us, and it's just hard to climb out of that hole, when you dig so deep. But definitely got things to learn from. I mean, four games in now, so pretty excited to keep going. We are a new group, so hopefully just up from here.
And in regards to like your experience, Coach Morrell, obviously been in other NBL 1 systems, how does the West compare to your experience with the Central and being involved here with like the Junior Wolves?
It's a little bit of a different style out here, but it's still it's still similar. It's still Australian basketball, and there's a style of Australian basketball that kind of is statewide. You watch games in Victoria, you watch games in Queensland, you watch games in Adelaide, and out here there's a bit of a common element or common style in Australian basketball versus European versus other places. Here is a little bit different. You definitely see that. You see more depth in teams, I would say, than in the Adelaide League. Teams are running 10, 11 deep of guys that can really play, and I think our team is like that as well. And the structures and the systems are a little bit different, but it's still Australian basketball, for sure.
This will be my last question. This could be a question from both of you guys from a player's perspective and a coach's perspective. Do you think there were some of the younger players coming through that definitely had some strong positive aspects on the game? Or some of your more some of your newer players coming in, do you think there were a few that stood out to you guys?
I mean, we got Morrison a little bit, and he had a little stretch in the second half where he started to find his way in his first game with us coming out of college. It was good to get Gabe in the game and get Ned in the game late. You don't want to have those guys in the game late for the reason that we had to much prefer to be, because we're up and we can get guys in and get guys experience. But those guys can play. We know those guys can play. So it's good to get them some game experience too.
Is there anything else? Yep. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Obviously, really tough loss tonight, but obviously good to have the crowds back at full capacity and masks off. Our next game, it's a home game, and it's here at HBF Arena, Saturday, May 7th, and that's against the Lakeside Lightning, and that is the pink run as well. Women starting at 5 p.m. and men starting at 7 p.m. If you can't make the game, then feel free to tune in on the NBL app or on the NBL One website. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a good weekend.
Cheers, mate.